Okay, I want to talk about these Beatles movies. And yeah, I want to talk about the casting, but I also specifically want to talk about like the fanfare and the way that these movies are being treated already this early on, because at CinemaCon they dramatically announced this casting, and I take issue with the entire concept of CinemaCon. I think that it is absurd that Hollywood has reached a point where we need this level of pomp and circumstance to announce any regular movie. Like, we don't need a fucking Comic-Con to announce a Beatles musical biopic. I think that's so dumb. Honestly, absolutely everything we've learned about these Beatles biopics up until this point is representative of why I have such a strong distaste for this genre. I also think it is really obvious why studio heads keep approving these movies, because they are guaranteed moneymakers. They have a lucrative existing fan base that is going to see this movie no matter what, as long as you don't take any risks or piss anybody off. They're inherently anti-artistic, and they know that they just have to do the bare minimum to get decent awards recognition, because they can hire talented actors who at the very least are probably going to be able to embody the character, like Timothée Chalamet did, even though the movie has absolutely nothing to say. And you know what? I might get hate for this. Timothée Chalamet did an excellent job in that role. He will always be Timothée Chalamet to me. There was not a single second of that movie when I was like, I'm watching Bob Dylan. I'm seeing Bob Dylan's story right now, because he's just incredibly well known and I know everything about him. Conversely, you look at Better Man, a movie that took wild creative risks, and it's amazing that a studio bet on it because audiences don't turn up for it. Movies like this need to be palatable by a huge, wide audience in order to be successful. And that tends to be why they're so fucking boring. And that desire not to be too controversial, to make sure that fans aren't upset by negative representations of the people that they love and the conflicts that they had, is why like the 4-movie format I feel like is really upsetting to me, because Sam Mendes, the director, his best films are about dysfunctional relationships and why when they break down it's so awful. And I feel like the Beatles, I'm a huge Beatles fan, and they have one of the best, like most beautiful and tragic stories, like interpersonal relationship stories in the music industry. Like, the way that they ended up breaking up is genuinely so sad. And it just feels like splitting this movie into 4 individual parts about the 4 individual Beatles is the least interesting story you could tell. Yeah, there's a ton of lore for each of them individually as well as together, but like still, I feel like this is what Hollywood is missing, is instead of capitalizing on every single moment, trying to get 4 movie tickets out of people and turn it into a fucking like historic event, they could just pick the most interesting story to tell and just tell that well in one fucking movie. And then we get into the casting of this, which obviously, like, I've seen people talk about the fact that these guys are not that famous. When people say, oh, we want to cast unknowns, it's like, yeah, they're not like Brad Pitt level famous, okay? Like, my mom probably could not name any of these people. But that being said, like, they've each been Twitter's White Boy of the Month at least once, okay? Like, the producers behind this know exactly what they're doing, and they're trying to get people interested in these movies based on this casting. They're famous enough for that. And I do think that, like, it's not necessary to go with an unknown, but I feel like when you're dealing with characters like this beloved and like almost mythological, it really helps. Like, for all of the faults of the Harry Potter bullshit, I think that that's the best thing that they did with those movies, is find unknowns that could embody these characters fully. And this just feels cynical to me. Like, audiences won't go see this movie unless you put the hot guy from Baby Girl in it, you know? And I mean, honestly, I will say this, as like a George Harrison girly myself, you people need to chill the fuck out about Joseph Quinn. I've seen so many videos like being really mean to this guy, just like when they did when he was cast in the Fantastic Four. And I feel like none of you people have actually seen his work outside of Stranger Things. He's an actually incredibly talented actor that's also very charismatic. So he's actually the one that I'm least pissed off, and I feel like has earned his spot probably the most out of this entire group. Not to say that these guys aren't talented, because they are. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand why we're doing movies like this now. I had higher hopes for the artistic integrity of Hollywood.